Hello there. My name is Alicia, aka Edmiston Creations, and this is a space where I like to share about sewing and knitting, sometimes crochet, but I love making my clothes and sharing the process here. I am also a licensed clinical social worker, and I enjoy sharing some general mental health and wellness tips from time to time in my episodes that you can take or leave. You can practice if you like, or you can just be here for all the making and that's it. But regardless of what has brought you here, welcome, and I'm happy that you're here. Please find in the show notes, you can find ways to get in touch with me. I have links to my Instagram account. You're welcome to direct message me if you have any questions about things that I talk about in my episode today. I will get back to you. And also there is a link to my Ravelry project page, which will have details for the knitting projects that I will share today. So here we go. It has been a while since I have recorded. I swear I have not prioritized making space to be able to record an episode. We had just about the time that I was ready to be able to record again. We had sickness go through the house. I was sick over Easter, and then we got that cleared out. And then my son got double pink eye. And now my husband is getting over double pink eye, and me and Ella, thankfully, we have not gotten pink eye. So just a lot of things have been going on. It's been a full couple of months. We've had some, good bits of downtime, kind of balanced with a lot of activity and connecting time with family and friends. I was able to spend a weekend with my dad in Colorado Springs. He traveled there for a conference in early May, and that was so wonderful because I hadn't seen him since last summer. And I also was able to connect with my friend Mowery, and that was amazing. She's at Colorado Knitter on Instagram, and she has a YouTube channel that I will link to in the show notes. But that was so much fun. And but we've had some downtime moments too, and I'm quite mindful of, like, I need rest as much as I need to keep go because I'm a very driven and active person, and so it's real easy for me to just keep pushing. So I have to, really be mindful to pause and practice slow whenever I can. So all that said, I'm happy to be back and recording today, and I have so much that I could share with you over the last however many weeks it's been since I have shared on here. But for the sake of not being overwhelmed myself, and perhaps not having a 2-hour episode where I sit and share all the things that I've been making, I'm going to kind of go through this in a finished object knitting project section, and then knitting whips, and then sewing will be last, and a quick self-care check-in at the end. So that's kind of where we're headed today, and so let's just dive in. We'll start with what I'm wearing today. It may not look like much, but I am wearing a bedrock tee and my Comfort Core hand knit socks. I'll put up a photo here. I plan on, after I finish recording, hitting the trails for a trail run, and this will be what I am wearing. My leggings are by Born Primitive. That's my favorite brand of athletic wear. And I just haven't really ventured into sewing athletic wear or anything yet. And I don't know if I will, just because I love Born Primitive leggings and sports bras so much. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to hit the trail after this episode for a few miles before I go to the school and do a kindergarten activity with my daughter as she wraps up her year of kindergarten. So here we go. That's what I'm wearing. And so let's start with my finished knitting objects that I will share today. I wanted to start with the Faerdy vest by Gudrun Johnston. This is my version. Oh my gosh, I just can't say how much I love this garment. This is the first garment that I have made with Jamieson's of Shetland Spindrift, and it will not be my last. I absolutely love this wool. I love the way it knits up. I mean, it's beautiful in color work projects. And I do have all the details of what colors I used for my vest on my Ravelry project page. Please check that out. I did pick my own color palette for this vest. And so I want to normalize here that picking colors for Fair Isle can be a bit of a challenge. And not a challenge, and like not a challenge in a bad way, a challenge in a good way. And I think that this is where my competitive athlete background totally comes out in me. Whenever I'm faced with a challenge like picking colors for this vest, it's like I stay with it until I'm like, I am going to figure this out. So whenever I first was so fortunately picked to test knit this vest for Gudrun, I shopped online at the Woolly Thistle, and I picked out some colors, and I did the best that I could online shopping, but this is what I started with. And I did not like it at all. I mean, for a lot of reasons. This was a color that I just kind of was using as a placeholder, but I still didn't like it. So I figured like the blue was just not dark enough for me. I wanted a dark background color. So I loved Earth, which is this color here. And that's the color I ended up using as my main color in my vest. So I went from like this to this to this, and like here we're getting a little closer, but I was like, no, I still don't like it. To this, which this was getting closer, to OMG, like, look, here's another one. I think this was, yeah, this is my final like little swatch of the bottom section. And here's another one. I swatched so much. So this is the process behind the scenes that you don't always see with like a finished product. And I do want to share my finished photos here. I styled this vest with a striped hinterland dress that I made with fabric from U Fibers, and I love that striped fabric so much. It was like a Swedish holiday stripe or something, I think was the name of it. And then some Oxbow jeans that I made with Merchant and Mills poppy colored denim, also from U Fibers. That outfit just is one of my favorites that I've put together so far. Just lots of fun with the stripes, the texture of the wool, and the colors in my vest. playing with the pop of the poppy jeans. Just lots of fun overall. But when you see these finished photos, it's like, you know, this is the stuff that you don't always get to really share on Instagram. And like, I really want people to know that, like, look, I did all of this. I mean, I spent a couple of weekends, different weekends, swatching, and I did swatch outside on my deck so I could be in natural light and see what the swatch looked like outside versus inside. I did do some swatching inside in the early mornings before taking the kids to school. But instead of like giving up, you know, like I just really hone it. I'm like, I'm going to get this. And I'm like, don't give up, kind of like the little engine that could. But I really was so happy whenever my colors finally clicked. Gudrun was very helpful during this process because she does have a video that is really helpful that will walk you through picking colors. So I will link that in the show notes if you want to pick your own colors and go through that process yourself. Her tips were so helpful, and she hadn't recorded that video yet at the time I was picking. So she was so kind and like helping me like prioritize, pick a light color for your background or a dark color. Well, I knew I wanted to do a dark color. And then I figured out what was really stumping me was I didn't really like the light blue for the middle of my motif here. This is sage that once I switched to sage, I really loved the way that everything just pulled together. And so that video that she made on picking colors is really helpful, you know, if you're gonna do Fair Isle. The other thing that she suggested to me that I did not realize when I was just shopping online was, oh, you could get a color card. And so, wow, what an awesome tool. So I did get a color card to be able to assist in future Spindrift projects because, like I said, this will not be my last Spindrift project, but I love this color card. It is actual bits of the yarn wrapped around the colors or the card. It's this cardstock itself, so you can truly see the yarn and what it looks like and kind of what you would be doing with your color palette. So this gives you a much better idea of you know, picking colors when you're shopping online. And so now I have this in my wheelhouse. This will make because I cannot shop for Spindrift in person locally anywhere. I mean, I will have this to be able to help me pick color palettes in the future. If you are like, picking colors is too overwhelming and I do not want to do it, there are kits available at the Woolly Thistle and that Gudrun has put together, and they are beautiful. So you can just get a kit. I mean, you don't have to pick colors if you don't want to. I do have an exciting announcement. I am a Woolly Thistle affiliate. I have partnered with them. If you do want to shop with Woolly Thistle to get your Spindrift, whether you're picking a palette or you are going to buy a kit, you can shop with my affiliate link, and that will be put in the show notes at no extra cost to you, but I will get a small commission for anything that you buy. And I deeply appreciate it if you do choose to shop with Woolly Thistle. So let's see if there's anything else that I could say about Faerdy. It is a steeked design, which I had never done steeked armholes or a steeked neckline before. The instructions in the pattern are super clear. Gudrun provides videos for the steek stitches in the garment, and I just I did not reinforce mine, so you can see I did not reinforce mine with any kind of, you know, crochet reinforcement or anything like that. I felted it, and then I felted it down with my little needle felting tool, and it is super secure and very clean. So, see, Faerdy, it is such a lovely garment and so fun to style and wear. So that is my first finished object. My second finished object is the Harlow flip. This is the, oh my gosh, how many Harlow hats are there now? There's the regular Harlow out of like sport weight or heavy fingering. There's Harlow worsted. There's Harlow plump. This is the fourth Harlow hat now, that by Andrea Mowery. I test knit this for her, and so it's like 2 hats in one. The cool thing about this hat is you use syncopated brioche, which sounds so fancy and difficult, but it's not. If you know how to brioche knit and brioche purl, you can totally knit this hat. The instructions are very clear about when you syncopate your stitches, and Andrea describes that and lays that out for you, and it is not challenging to do at all, I promise. I've never done syncopated brioche before, and I did this following her written instructions. So you can do it too. I know you can. So this is actually my contrast color side. I used Wild Horses, and then this bottom part is Rusted Rainbow that's showing. So that way, when you flip it up, it's Wild Horses all the way, you know, all on the same side. And then my main color actually was Rusted Rainbow. So it's this beautiful deep red with these pops of yellow. OMG, I love this skein of Rusted Rainbow. It's from Black Mountain Yarn Shop. It was left over from my framed sweater that I knit last year for Rhinebeck's design. So I love it's so squishy too. I just want to keep doing this. So all details for this hat are on my Ravelry project page. It's like 2 hats in one. I want to throw up some pictures here. Harlow is one of my favorite hats. I've knit all the versions. It's well fitting because the brioche cinches in nicely, but then it also relaxes well and just fits around your head nicely without being too tight. And it's just fun that it's reversible. So this is the pattern for the Memorial Day knitting challenge, the spring knitting challenge that Andrea hosts every year. So I would love to know, are you going to join in and make a Harlow flip? You totally should. You will be so happy if you do. Yeah, but comment or send me a message on Instagram. I'd love to know what colors you're going to use and if you're going to join. It's just a really fun knit. So those are my finished objects that I will share with you today. Now on to my whips. So I do have a couple of test knits that are going on that are secret that I cannot share. One is finished and one I just started this week, but when it's time and those release, I look forward to sharing those with you. But I have been knitting, this is my first one that I will share, the Andrea cardigan by Andrea Mowery. This is in the worsted book by Lobby Enemy, and I hope you can see the beautiful texture here on the body of the sweater. I think I have a project, Jesus, I don't know if I created a project page for this yet or not. I sized down one needle to get gauge, I'm knitting the size 2. This is with La Bien-Aimée Corey worsted in the colorway Kitsune. This yarn was kindly gifted to me by Patty. Her handle is Woolly Witch on Instagram. And I saved this yarn when we were evacuated from the fire. I was not able to pack very much, but I grabbed stuff that was really special to me, and this was one of the yarns. And I just, since Patty has given me this yarn, I have wanted to knit the Andrea cardigan with it, and I'm finally doing it, and I love it. But this was my March to May knit along. Knit. Clearly, I'm not going to finish it by the end of May. I have some deadlines I need to meet, and so here I go yet again. I'm pushing off my March to May knit along knit because of test knits, and I promised myself I wasn't going to do that, and I broke my promise to myself. So sadly, I will not finish this by the end of May, but I do want to have it finished by the end of June. And I think that's very reasonable. And also, when I was laying stuff out to like share for this episode, I was like, dang, look how good that's gonna go together. I mean, this is gonna be such an awesome, like, I'm gonna wear these together all the time this fall. I'm super excited. So anyway, love this. I love it. And I'm actually sad. And it is cabled, like just like one switch of the, like it's just a 1x1 cross, like either front or back. And you are doing twisted, like twisted knit stitches on the right side and twisted purl stitches on the wrong side. So it gives that's what gives the lovely texture. So it's a really fun knit. I don't do a lot of cabled knits, so I'm eager to get back to this. I knit on this Mother's Day. I gave myself that space to knit on this Mother's Day, and it made me very happy. So that's WIP number 1, and here we go. WIP number 2. Okay, I'm obsessed with this, y'all. This is the Blazer by Zanete Knits. This is a newly released pattern. I bought it like either release date, like right around when she released it. I needed something because of like the cabled stuff. Like this was, so the Andrea cardigan was my, initially my sweater for like April into May, but test knits happened, so they were put on the back burner a bit, or it was put on the back burner a bit. Plus, like I noticed I wasn't making really quick progress on it because of the cabled stitches, and I wasn't really proficient with it yet, but I have gotten better. So now it's really flying off the needles. So I'm excited about that. But I needed something that was just mindless, and like, man, I love garter stitch. And so when I saw this cute garter stitch, let me see if I can hold it a bit better. This garter stitch cardigan by Zanete, and I'll pop up a photo of her finished cardi here. She designed this with Spin Cycle and Nocturne, so it's got the garter stitch really shows the gradient of Spin Cycle yarns or hand spun yarn beautifully. I fell in love with the fringe on this cardigan, and this is Spinster's Daughter Sport. I do have a project page made for this one, and I'm using the recommended needle for the pattern, and just making sure I did not drop a stitch. That is a good thing. So I did make a project page for this one, and this is Spinster's Daughter Sport in Many Moons, and this is also yarn I saved from the fire. I love Spinster's Daughter Sport. It's one of my favorite yarns, and I got this cream color. Initially, I had kept it in stash because I was going to use it for my tessellated cardigan, but I ended up swatching and I didn't like any of my color combos, so I pivoted and I used a different main color. So I've had this Mini Moons in stash, like saving it for the perfect design, and I saw the blazer and I was like, oh, this is it. I just think the way that Zanete designs the European shoulder, I mean, look at this detail on the shoulder. It's so pretty in the cream color. Oh my gosh. And then she's got, you slip stitches on the side seam, and this cream just really shows off those beautiful details like so nicely, and it fits like a dream. Like you do some short row shaping to do like set in sleeves, and you know, I lift weights and do CrossFit and stuff, so I got some guns for like my body size. Like, you know, my chest size is fairly average. I mean, but I've got fairly large arms. So, or whatever, you guys know what I'm saying. So I love how Zanete designs sleeves. They accommodate my muscles well. They fit nice. I have not put mods into my Ravelry project page yet, but I did need to add a few rows in the back part of my yoke to accommodate my shoulder depth is a little bit more than the pattern as written. So I did do some figuring to get my sleeve for the European sleeve to fit correctly. But I mean, that wasn't that challenging to do, and I will try to, whenever I finish this, I'll update all that in the notes if you want to replicate what I did. But anyway, or you can just ask me questions and I'll answer you in a message or in the comments. But I love the fringe on this. It is so freaking cute. I love it. And I'll share a photo of me like trying it on here. I love the fit of this, and it's such a joy to knit. Now that I'm on the sleeves, I finished the short row shaping. I'm just doing, you know, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, and it's a great knit for the playground, for gymnastics. So it will have the little fringe detail on the cuffs and around the neck and everything. So I'm super excited to have this finished whenever I get to it. Hoping to have both of those cardigans done either by the end of June, early July, just depending. So we'll see. That's all. Oh, no, it's not. I have one more whip to show you, and it's my stockpile to stockpile knit along socks. Okay, look, y'all, I have been totally sucked into garment knitting again. Like, it's just like a siren song. Like, knit me, I'm a sweater. Knit me, I'm a cardigan. Knit me, I'm a vest. And I just can't help it. I keep knitting garments. And you know, one of my intentions this year was to knit more accessories. And I have knit accessories this year. But admittedly, I have really been in the throes. I've got to go where the creativity is flowing, and garments have really been fitting my fancy lately. But I am on the sock knitting train still. I'm doing another pair of coffee order socks. I have a project page up for these, so you can see I'm using Farmer's Daughter sock yarn for these. I am doing shorties because I don't have any shorty socks and I need some. So this is going to be the summer of shorties for me. Shorty socks. And I did the Pico cast on edge. Look how cute. I love it. And I just did the slip stitch heel. That's my favorite heel. So I've been knitting these on my walks and hikes. That's my last whip. All right. I told you I had a lot going on. Let's move into the sewing. We'll try to zip along here. The first thing I want to share with you is my Yanta overalls. Here they are. This is a denim pair, light wash denim from U Fibers. I'll have a photo up here of me wearing these. So you can see them on the body. But I used railroad denim for my facings, which was really fun. And I did do the invisible zipper on the side just for ease of getting them on and off. I really didn't need to, but I like that I put that in. I top stitched these and added a sawtooth quilt star applique and used Idlewild clay buttons, of course, like these little heart buttons. I mean, honestly, just give it the quilt girl vibes that I was going for these. And I added the little slider buckle on the back just to give me a little bit of a waist. Like, these overalls are supposed to be relaxed fitting, and so I didn't want to try to make them something they weren't, but I just thought this was like a nice way to cinch them in just a touch and still give them the original fit, look, and style of the intended design. So I love that addition, and I embroidered the pockets and added a heart applique on my little butt. And I did heart embroidery on the pockets. Like, I'm obsessed with my heart embroidery stitch on my Janome. For real, I'm obsessed with it. So I made these with Mowery. We were able to twin together whenever we met, and that was so fun. So I thought I would share. This is actually the second time I've made these. The first time I made them was before I went to North Carolina for Black Mountain Yarn Shop's anniversary event. So this is the first pair I made. This is a really cool quilting cotton, and I love the cactus color. I'll show some photos of them on the body too. But this is fabric from Oster Santa Fe. The denim is from U Fibers, and these also are Idlewild clay buttons. And I did make, so this is a size 6. I did make a few mods for my second pair. I sized down to a 4, and I took a wedge out of the front rise to shorten the front rise a bit, to take out some fabric there because I have a short torso, and they fit great. So just a fantastic overall pattern, and that's by Helen. The Yanta overalls by Helen's Closet. So the last thing I have to share with you today, sewing wise, is the Saundra skirt pattern by Sydney Graham. Y'all, Sydney released this pattern late April, and I have been obsessed with this skirt pattern since she had been teasing. Like, she shared kind of her design process as she was having the idea and everything. I wanted to sign up to preview sew it, but at the end of the day, like, I couldn't pick what fabric I wanted to, so I didn't apply. And I had test knitting deadlines, and I was like, no, Alicia, no stress, just don't do it, just wait till it releases. So I did. Like, release day, it was a Wednesday that she released it. I think it was April 30th. Like, I seriously was obsessed with this pattern. I bought the pattern, I printed it at home, pieced it together. I started sewing it that day. I was like ready to roll. So, and I even picked what fabric I was going to use that day. So this is my first version. This is the simple skirt version out of the Cider Toddy linen Merchant and Mills from U Fibers. I will show an on the body picture here. I love this skirt. Now, I sewed this with the French seams as she has it written in the pattern, and I also did the waistband as it's written in the pattern. And I added a little Sarah Hart's tag. Those are my favorite labels, Sarah Hart's. But I will say, for me, I like at least a 1.5 inch waistband. The pattern calls for 1 inch waistband elastic, and just because I really like my skirts and like, I just like my waistbands to be quite snug, so it doesn't feel like if I put my phone or rocks that the kids pick up when we're out on hikes and they give me, and you know, things like that. I just don't like the feeling that maybe they're gonna fall down. And so I really felt like with the 1 inch elastic, I was stretching it to high heaven to get it to be as snug as I wanted. And so then I told y'all I'm obsessed with this pattern. So I haven't shared this one yet, but I will put up a photo of it on the body. This is my second simple skirt. And this time I added fabric to, or I added extra height to the top of the pattern piece. This is a simple skirt, but I alternated fabric from U Fibers and from the bow chambray. Denim chambray is from Fluid Plus Drape. And I love how this one turned out. I did a waistband channel and used 1.5 inch elastic on this one. And I just like the way it feels better on my waist. Personal preference. Also, I serged this. I do have, I got a serger. So I did serge this one instead of doing French seams. And I honestly liked the serge. Usually I mean, look, I like doing polished finishing on knitting garments and sewing garments. So I don't mind French seams. That's why I sewed this one as it was written. So this one does have French seams all the way around, and it's beautiful. I found the French seams to be quite bulky for the pockets, and I didn't use, this is Merchant & Mills linen. It's not crazy thick fabric, and I used Grace hemp fabric for my pockets. Again, not crazy thick fabric, and I just didn't really like the bulk of the French seams. Not that it was crazy bulky or anything like that. Again, it's really just personal preference. I found it really, I liked the finished feel of the waistband and the serged seams better than the process of doing the French seams on the pockets and everything, to just tacking them into the waistband. I really liked the serged finished, especially. Okay, let me say that again. The pockets are sewn in the waistband, right, to hold them up across the top. Whether you do a waistband channel or you do the waistband as it's written, you sew them into the waistband. I really liked the serged finish versus the French seam pocket finish to be put into the waistband because it was less bulk. But if you don't have a serger, the French seams are a great way to finish this skirt. And she even puts in the pattern, you can finish it however you prefer. So it doesn't, really matter. The other thing I will say is I did a size 6 for my first version. I did a size 2 for this version because normally I like a really full skirt. However, the way that this is an A-line shaped skirt, I just I don't have a lot of curves. Like my waist and my high and my low hip, there's just not a nice dramatic curve there to make the skirt billow out beautifully. So actually sizing down in this design I like the look of it better, and it shows off the A-line shaping better, I believe. Again, personal preference, but be sure to read the notes if you decide to make this pattern about the fit and the intended design, because that can help you pick your size. If I just, like I said, if I just went off of my waist size, the size 6 is what I would make. But like, yeah, I mean, sizing down to the 2, I just think looks a lot better and fits better on me. I'm actually making a 3rd version of this with the godets. I'm not ready to share it yet, but I'm making it with a fun patchwork dress for my daughter for her kindergarten graduation that I will share next week on Instagram. She graduates from kindergarten on Thursday, so they're just, oh, her dress is so cute. I can't wait to share it. Anyway, Saundra skirt, I'm obsessed with it. I've made 3 versions so far. I have a 4th version planned. I don't know that I'm gonna stop there. It's such a great way to use up these bits and pieces of fabric and like come up with something fun and wearable. Oh, one last thing I will say. She uses a rolled hem for the finish of the skirt. If you do French seams, you would not be able to use a rolled hem foot on your machine. The bulk of the French seam will not go through the rolled hem foot. At least on my Janome, it will not. I was able to use my rolled hem foot on this skirt, but I did have a hard time getting the serged in to go through the rolled hem foot. It would go, but it was fiddly. So every time I came to a join, I kind of had to finagle my rolled hem a bit to get it to go through the machine. But it did work out. I probably, for the godet skirt version that I'm making now, I will probably just do the rolled hem instructions that she has written in the pattern, and I will not use my rolled hem foot just because the joins kind of, it's a little frustrating to be like zooming along and then hit the join and it not really go through the machine, the foot of the machine super nice. So I'd rather it look nice and just enjoy the process. So I'm gonna follow her instructions where you you seam and then trim off around and fold over, and so it does take more time than just zipping through the rolled foot, but I mean, it's worth it, and it looks really pretty. That's what I did on this one. So I'll show you what that looks like. This is the rolled hem finish on this skirt, and I did this per their instructions. And you can see, I mean, yeah, with the French seam, there would be no hope of it going through a rolled hem foot, just an FYI. So that is it for today. I told you I had a lot. So quick self-care check-in. What have you guys been doing for self-care lately? I would love to hear in the show notes. Truth be told, since I've been sick, and around Easter, and then Howie having double pink eye, and now my husband going through that, I fell off the getting my steps in every day. So my knit and walk project, my socks are not as I mean, I probably would be close to being done with those socks if I had been getting my steps in every day. So I just recently, this past week, have gotten back on my step train. So that's a big thing that I've been doing for self-care, is in the mornings after I get home from dropping the kids off at school, I grab my sock knitting and I go for a walk up on, walk/hike up on my local trails. I walk out to a specific lookout. I take my dog Willow with me, and I listen to a gratitude meditation by Alex L. that's on the Ritual app. I love her guided meditations. They are so soothing, and it's such a fantastic gratitude practice. So I listen to that, and then I don't listen to anything at all. I take my earbuds out and I listen to the sounds around me. I let the wind hit my face. I stitch and walk and sync my breathing, and that's been just such a wonderful self-care practice that I've been doing lately. So really just any time outside that I can soak in, that's what I've been doing. So I'd love to hear what you've been doing. If you'd please comment below. And that's it for today. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, and I look forward to being back to share more soon. It's time for me to hit the trail. Happy making.